Hello, is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your smile. You would think I wasn't in choirs, multiple. Hello, beautiful conscious creators. I hope that you have started your day with nothing short of health, wealth, peace, love, and light. As we explore healing and conscious creation together in this space, I hope that you'll remember to be kind and patient with yourself and your thoughts. Song recommendation: Jordan Rakei, Always Coming. I'm always recommending this guy. I don't know what's happening, but I think I've just been in like a Jordan Rakei, it doesn't matter. I've just been in a season of his songs. They're just so good, man. Anyway, so today I wanted to have a chat with you about, or address the conversation around like not serving, don't use the word like. Anyway, not serving two gods. But to give context, right? This channel is not about, it's not based on any religion, like in no way, shape or form. For me, I think but I just believe in being a good person. Because I've noticed, I've had so many conversations and with people who are open, just from different religions, the Islamic, the, Jewish community, just like I've been exposed to so many different spaces, even African spirituality. I used to live with an Islamic girl and a girl that is both Christian and does African spirituality related things, right? And just being in that space, there was so much growth and learning, and you realize that, well, I've always known this a part of myself, like as I've always known that it's about just being with good people who their essence is just good, no matter how they identify. So I'm going to avoid religion because this is not about religion, it's about self, and it's about learning about self and how you connect with your own religion, or your own faith rather. I don't want to use the word religion. How you connect with your own faith. And but that's not to say that I don't explore like phrases, biblical phrases, because I was raised Christian and there are certain things that I learned from those scriptures that I'm like, oh, okay, this is how I've always identified with these certain scriptures. And one of them being today is you cannot serve two gods. And I just want to share my 2 cents and my perspective on that. Meaning, how I've always thought about it, or how I used to think about it, was I cannot now serve this God and that God. But the more I started honing in on spirituality in general, I realized for me it became more about, I'll give you an example. Say you grew up poor. I mean, this links to last week's theme of episodes. Say you grow up poor or middle class, or just less than super wealthy, right? And a part of you desires to be the super wealthy. Now, the identity that you've always grown up in has had these limitations surrounding money. So the identity, the things that are running in your background, have certain limitations surrounding the idea and the aspects of what money and how you relate to money, right? So by not serving two gods, I mean that in order for you to adopt the identity of wealth, in order for you to adopt the identity of rich, the version of you, or the part of you that's always had lack in terms of money in their mindset, the part of you that has had this lack needs to die away in order for you to lean in to serving this idea of wealth being something that exists in and around you. But it's difficult to unidentify with something that you've always known, right? But you cannot serve the identity of, say for instance, I'll actually use an example using complaining and gratitude. If you're always complaining, then you forget to be grateful. If you are always being grateful for things, then there are opportunities that you see. Then you find yourself, even in circumstances that are not always the best, you find blessings in them because you're not always seeing the bad and you're not always seeing things to complain about, because complaints are rooted in disgruntled behavior, are rooted, and I'm not saying we don't complain. Sometimes I find myself complaining and I have to go, hey, watch yourself, look at all of the other blessings that you have. But it's not to guilt myself into feeling grateful, because some situations are just sucky, and I want to vent about them, and it's okay to vent, right? I'm not saying it's don't vent, don't complain in that moment, or don't have a moment of complaint. I'm saying when you identify with the idea of always being a complainer, when you're always complaining about things, then you forget to be grateful. Because here, this is what you do. This is what you're habitually doing. So you don't always get to see even the opportunities that exist in things that you're complaining about, because person A could complain about I can't even think of anything. I can't really think of an example right now. Person A and B could be complaining about the same things. Oh, I'll give you an example. There are too many people are always throwing garbage in this area. Oh, like outside my yard, for example. I don't know who does that, but people are throwing garbage outside my yard, right? The person is like, you are justified to complain in that moment because you don't want dirt in your yard. But person A, who's always complaining, is attracting more things to complain about and is putting themselves in a position where they can't even think of a solution, because you're so disgruntled and aggravated and agitated by the situation that you can't necessarily pull back and say, well, maybe I could put up a poster that says, if you dump, you get a fine. Do you know what I mean? Like you put yourself in a position where you're so headlocked in your complaints that solutions are outside of you. What measures can you put? You can put a bin outside. Someone who's grateful, like, thank you for this idea to put a bin outside. I mean, this is probably a silly example, but I don't know, maybe the dirt outside the yard is not the best example. But I couldn't think of anything in that moment. If I think of something, I will mention it. But the point is, what is it that you identify with? When you complain, you're serving this specific God. When you are grateful, you're serving this specific God. And it's not calling that way of thinking God, but it's more about how you identify with it. That's what I'm basically trying to highlight. Yeah. So if you want a part of yourself to change, you have to let the other thing die. You have to let go of it. You have to try, by all means, practice by all means to move away and adopt these certain habits. And it will be challenging because you're challenging something that you've always known. It will be hard and difficult, but you're challenging something that you've always known. And actually, I want to take that back. Nothing is ever hard. It's just unfamiliar. And when I remember hearing that quote in high school, and I remember it all just clicked for me. Nothing was ever hard. It was just unfamiliar. And so there was room to learn and practice in the things that I actually wanted to adopt. Yeah, pretty much. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. My name is Oygang, and I'm your accidental therapist. Mwah! Mwah, mwah.